What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, First Presbyterian Church, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Good to be with you again. I feel like it's been a while since I have put a video on the church YouTube page, so this is fun. Now, today is Saturday, September 17th. This is your sermon preview for Sunday, September 18th, 2022. Hey, it's me again real quick. Look, I noticed as I was editing this little video that the color temperature in the video kept changing. And I realized it must be my Murfreesboro Little League hat. It's a very bright red, and there's light coming in through the window over here. And every time I look down, it's like the camera on the phone is trying to correct the color. And when I'm up and it's mostly my face, it changed. I don't know if you noticed that. It's driving me crazy. I'm like, why is it doing that? So that's it. I apologize. The sermon preview video you're watching, the color keeps shifting, but that's because of this hat. But it looks better than this, okay? So, well, maybe it doesn't, man. My hair's looking pretty good today. But I like to wear hats on Thursdays because Thursdays are my Friday. Yes, that's another little secret you're getting. I talk about this as if it's Saturday, but I recorded this on Thursday. The magic of technology isn't so powerful that it can't figure this out, the color hat thing. But anyway, back to the sermon preview. Bye. We are continuing our series on forgiveness, on the topic of forgiveness, and have been looking at a couple scriptures. I think this is our third sermon in the series, and we will be looking at Colossians 3. Paul's letter to the church in Colossae. And just a few verses 12 through 14, and where forgiveness is mentioned in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I don't think we normally do. I'm gonna read this now. It's so short. See what you think. So Paul writes, and by the way, he's done a lot. This is chapter 3. It's not that long of a letter, but he's done a lot of groundwork to get to this. Lots about Jesus, lots about grace and forgiveness that comes to us through Christ. That's the starting point. And I talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about that on tomorrow in the sermon. But that's why he says, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, like I said, therefore, as God's chosen people, dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other, or one another, probably doesn't matter, and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. So there you have it. Forgiveness in this passage is something Paul calls a virtue. And we're going to talk about it tomorrow. We're going to talk about Colossians. We're going to talk about the church there. We're going to talk about Jesus. And then I'm just going to... I'm looking at the sermon now. I really kind of struggled with this one. Like, how do you talk about, these verses in Colossians, Paul's not really digging into forgiveness, right, as a topic. He's mentioning it as one virtue among four others that should mark the life of the follower of Christ. Like, this should be who we are. This is clothe yourselves in forgiveness. Where forgiveness is clothed, this should be who we are. This should be who the church is. And so it's interesting to take forgiveness out of these verses and make the whole thing about forgiveness, in a sense. But that's what we're going to do. And so for me to do that, really what I'm going to be doing is sharing what I've learned about forgiveness over the years. And what I've learned about it comes from other voices. It comes from other authors and pastors and things I've read that have really meant something to me. And so you're going to hear some of that stuff, Mr. Rogers. Y'all know I love Mr. Rogers. I mean, these are all my faves. Rob Bell, Richard Rohr, Donald Craybill, Eugene Peterson, Jesus. And then this cool children's book that I came across called Old Turtle and the Broken Truth. So we're going to talk about it. And I also want to I also hope to be able to explore how we forgive. How do we forgive somebody? Practically speaking, how do we do it? My hope is that, and I'll say this tomorrow, my hope is that, and this is true for any sermon, that we would hear what the Spirit is saying to us through God's Word, through Colossians 3, about forgiveness and how forgiveness should be central in our lives, how that's supposed to look, and what is it the Spirit trying to teach us about that. So there you go. That's the sermon preview. Heavy lifting is the title of the sermon, but it might not be the type of heavy lifting might not be what you think it is. You'll have to come tomorrow to find out. 8:30 and 11, worship times. Hope to see you. Grace and peace. Bye-bye.